It's Nero here, and thanks for joining us here today, God Was A Geek, for another video game review. Today I'm going to be reviewing EA Sports NHL 16.
I used to think about you. Now I don't care. Whatever you do, as long as I'm living without you.
While I am a fan of ice hockey, it has been a really long time since I played an NHL game. When I was a kid, I used to play Blades of Steel for hours on my NES, mostly just getting into fights. But no ice hockey game I've played since ever showed me the same level of fun and enjoyment. This, in my opinion, was due to the games, like a lot of American sport video games, being focused too much on strategy and set plays. Another thing that put me off the NHL games was the useless AI. I remember playing an NHL game on the original PlayStation, and as soon as I would get the puck, my teammates would sprint across the center line, causing an offside call, or I would try to pass but accidentally shoot instead, causing an icing call. I found it really frustrating, so I decided to stay away from the NHL games for a while. But I'm glad to say that NHL 16 seems to have smoothed out all of the problems I had with hockey games in the past. Better controls and definitely smarter AI.
As long as I'm living without you, it doesn't matter what you say. I never loved you anyway. That's something you should know. As long as I'm living without you.
The gameplay in NHL 16 is fast and smooth, allowing for quick plays and great action. Shooting is fluid but very realistic. Your player will mostly shoot with their dominant hand, so if they're on the wrong side, they will switch, leaving the puck open to be stolen by the opponent. Sometimes skating in defense can be a bit frustrating, as your players will skate backwards before turning around and reversing your controls. This can cause you to skate away from your opponent, leaving your goalie unguarded. That was probably the only real problem I had with the controls of the game.
Love you anyway. That's something you should know. As long as I'm living without you. As long as I'm living without you. As long as I'm living, that's something you should know. Something you should know.
The graphics in NHL 16 are awesome. EA has really taken the time to put in all those tiny little details. Things like the scuffing and scratching on the ice, which is fixed after each period by the Zamboni. And even they've gone to the trouble of putting in Brent Burns' missing teeth. EA have also used actual recorded footage of commentators and stadiums to introduce each game. Surprisingly, this blends well into the actual video game. The crowd has been painstakingly created to not just be a bunch of repeated clones throughout a stadium. The fans will cheer loudly, which, if you've ever watched an NHL game, is a realistic recreation. The sound of the puck being slap shot and bouncing off the glass is perfect, and even the commentary is quite believable, which is odd for a sports game.
Now I just stand and watch you fall. As long as I'm living without you, it doesn't matter what you say. I never loved you.
There are a few options in terms of gameplay. You have the standard single play, career mode, which can be played as either a player or a manager of a team, Hockey Ultimate Team, which is obviously similar to the FIFA and NFL Ultimate Teams, where you can create a team of past and present stars. Season mode and playoff mode, where you can chase the Stanley Cup with the team of your choice, and a creation mode, where you can create your own hockey stuff. An addition to the creator player mode this year is females. You can now create female players and assign them to any team. However, you're only given 2 choices in terms of the faces, so your customization is very limited if you want to create a female skater. As well as the limited female choices, the one thing that I have found missing from a lot of sports games, especially NHL lately, are the created team modes. I remember some older sports games used to have a mode where you could create your own team, including everything from their name, their jerseys, their logo, and even the players. These modes seem to have been taken out of sports games recently, which I'm kind of sad about, because that used to be one of the most fun things to do in sports games. It kind of broke up the monotony of playing the same game over and over. Plenty of teams to choose from in NHL 16, not only from the National Hockey League but also from the American Hockey League and leagues from all over Britain, Europe, Canada and Russia. Sadly though, the Australian Ice Hockey League was left out, so there was no choice for me to play as the Melbourne Mustangs or Melbourne Ice. Hopefully this will be added next year, as the league is building itself up quite well. However, I did still have my beloved San Jose Sharks. Each team has had its players wonderfully recreated into the game, and just in case you needed any further proof, here's Brent Burns with that beautiful smile again.
Why?
The computer AI has definitely been ramped up this year. If you muck around, they'll steal the puck from you any chance that they're given. The goalies are also quick, and unless you can get around them and catch them off guard, you're really going to struggle to score against them, even in the easier modes.
Now I don't care whatever you do, as long as I'm living without you. I used to walk beside you. Now I just stand and watch you fall. As long as I'm living without you, it doesn't matter what you say. I never loved you anyway. That's something you should.
So now we come to the scoring for NHL 2016. For audio, I gave the game 8 out of 10. It's got a great sounding crowd and realistic sound effects. Visual was 9 out of 10. All players and rinks have been recreated beautifully. Gameplay, 8 out of 10. The game is smooth and challenging, but it's not punishing. Characters, or in this instance players, 9 out of 10. Multiple teams and multiple players from leagues all over the world have been wonderfully recreated. Replayability, 6 out of 10. If you're a fan of ice hockey, then there is a lot to keep you coming back. If you're not a massive fan, then it's like any other sports game. You'll probably play it through once, win the Stanley Cup, and then it'll sit on the shelf collecting dust. Enjoyment. For me, 10 out of 10. This game is surprisingly fun. I created myself and some of my friends and work colleagues. I put us all in the San Jose Sharks starting lineup, and I played through an entire season, and it was awesome. Controls, 8 out of 10. So much better than the old games. The controls can be a little confusing when you're skating backwards, but other than that, it's not too bad. Originality, 6 out of 10. There's not a lot that's new here, obviously it's just another NHL game, although adding women to the creation mode is definitely a step in the right direction. I just wish they had more options in terms of how you could create the women. Another thing that I'd really love to see come back is the creator team mode. Extras, 7 out of 10. There's not a lot of extras, although it is a sports game, so you wouldn't really expect much DLC or anything like that apart from maybe roster changes, stuff like that. It'd be nice to see them, even though I know it won't happen, to add the Australian Ice Hockey League maybe as a DLC in the future. Story, or in the case of most sports games, the season mode, 7 out of 10. As it is in all sports game, the story's up to you in the season mode. You can play it how you want it as a player or a manager. It's all down to what you want to do. And the total, 78 out of 100. I really enjoyed NHL 16. It's been a long time since I've had this much fun with an ice hockey game. So that's it for this review of NHL 16. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for joining us once again here at God Was A Geek. Nero out.